Hey everybody, my name is REDRUP. You're listening to the It's Not a Phase podcast, and on this episode I'm joined by vocalist James Tippett and guitarist Elliot Reynolds of the band Rough Justice. We discuss how the band formed, their debut album Faith in Vain, the themes of the title track and how it links with the album artwork, the DIY and independence-driven community in Sheffield's heavy music scene, their bond with local heroes Malevolence, and loads more. Now, if you enjoyed this or any other episode of the podcast and you want to show your support, there's a few ways that you can do that. Number one, leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this. It takes just a few seconds and it really does help. Number two, share this on your social media, whether that be Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Or number three, if you want to go the extra mile, you can pay a little bit each month to join the Patreon, and in return you'll get access to episodes early along with some other perks, or you can pick up some merch from the store. All the links to that and the podcast socials where you can follow us can be found at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. And now with all that out of the way, let's jump right into this week's episode of It's Not a Phase. What's up everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of It's Not a Phase, where I'm joined by Elliot and James of the band Rough Justice. How you doing?
Very well, thank you, mate.
All good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course. I was looking into the band and I noticed that on your Facebook there was posts as far back as 2012. So I guess in some ways you are a new band, but you've actually been going for a while. And then I saw there was I don't know, it's an older Bandcamp, but there's some older demos on there from also back as 2012. So I guess just kicking off with you, kind of stepping into the first album, which we'll talk about a bit more shortly. For people listening, how did kind of the band form to, kind of the point where it is today?
So Rough Justice kind of started out of the end of a band that a few of us were in. So me, Elliot, and Ed, who plays the guitar, were in a band, and it just sort of fizzled out. Really, it was kind of the first band that we were all in that played sort of heavier stuff.
Right.
And Elliot and Harry, who is the bassist in Rough Justice, went on to form a band called In Arms. So they were doing their whole thing. It was a sick melodic hardcore band. And then me and Ed, I played drums in this band, and me and Ed still wanted to play hardcore music. Really, it was kind of that time in 2011 probably when we were really first getting into hardcore and really finding a lot of bands. So we were just feeling really inspired and stuff, and just wanted to try and make something that we'd mosh to ourselves, really. That was kind of it. We were just trying to write something quite heavy. So it started just me and Ed, me playing drums, him playing guitar. And then, we wrote a demo, just 2 tracks. And I think that came out in, early 2012, I think, maybe February 2012. And then, just kind of went from there. We got Josh on drums. Harry played, got him on bass pretty quickly. And we were a 4-piece probably up until 2016, Earl, do you think? And you joined about then, or was it 2015?
Longer than I remember, I think.
Yeah.
It was the Malevolent Fest, wasn't it, in Manchester?
Yeah.
But I couldn't put a year to that or anything. I have to find the flyer. But
I think it was 2016, because so what happened was I think it was the only Malevolent Fest there ever was. And I couldn't play.
Okay. Yeah.
And Ed did vocals and you played guitar.
And
after
the
that,
guitars, 2 separate speakers.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Ed was so adamant for ages that he just wanted to keep Rough Justice as a 4-piece, but then after that, I think he had to kind of, admit defeat and just be it'd probably sound better with 2 guitars. So but you're right in what you say, that we're kind of an old band but a new band. I feel like that this record is kind of, we've written it no different to how we would any other record, but I feel like it's kind of, how it's going to come across is it's going to be the first thing a lot of people hear from us, which is interesting, So
Yeah, because I think isn't there 1 or 2 songs on there that were some older songs as well? I think isn't Boa Constrictor a little older?
Yes. So on the new record, there's 3 older songs that we've re-recorded, and Boa Constrictor is actually the first song that me and Ed ever wrote. So a bit of a funny story. We kind of came when we were going to go start this new band that ended up being Rough Justice. We wrote 2 songs. One that was Boa Constrictor, which is obviously kind of the style that we went with, that was heavier. We were big into Bad Seed and Dead End Path, sort of quite heavy hardcore bands. And then the other song was a bit more of a Youth Crew sort of hardcore punk style thing. And we were going to be called Guilt Trip, funnily enough.
Oh, really?
That song was going to be called Guilt Trip. So yeah, we told them quite recently. And I remember Jack, the guitarist, it was just what were wrong with Guilt Trip?
Like, yeah, what wrong with that then?
Yeah, right dry as he is. He was joking, obviously, but yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. That's strange. I wonder what, like, if you did call yourselves Guilt Trip, I wonder what they would have ended up calling themselves, maybe, or
Well,
yeah.
Guilt Trips.
Yeah, they would have been Rough Justice, would they?
Well,
Yeah. And also Universe, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, let's talk about a bit more about the debut album Faith in Vain that comes out on January 12th by Malevolence. How are you feeling about putting this out there? Like you say, there are a couple of older tracks, but there's some new stuff on there. Showcases a bit of different stuff that you guys haven't done quite yet. Yeah, how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, feeling good. I think we've had the songs for such a long time now. It's we're just really eager to get it out and potentially start working on stuff as soon as it on newer stuff as soon as it the album drops. We're just really eager to get it all out, like you say, because there's some newer songs on there and some older songs. It'll be intriguing to see how it's all received as like a whole body of work. But yeah, we're just excited and just I think we just really want to get it out now because it's just been such a long time coming.
Yeah, we've had like the demos and stuff for so long, and we've all been listening to it for like over lockdown and stuff, and yeah, it's it almost all sounds.
Yeah, we want to play them live.
Yeah,
we want to get it out. We want to play them live. We want them to be the energy on stage for it all and stuff, and just enjoy having it out and playing shows and stuff, playing the music.
So you mentioned there like the lockdowns, and you've had this for a while. How long has this basically been ready to go? Have you been sitting on it for a while, or?
Yeah, I think fully like mastered and stuff, not too long, but as in some of the ideas and stuff go way back. Like the opening riff to the first track is a riff that we used as an intro the first time we played Outbreak Fest in like 2016 or something like that. So
long.
Yeah, so we've had like loads of ideas going for a while, and like I even remember as we were recording the EP in 2019. I think you even had some of the ideas for these songs then, Earl. So it's been a long time, and lockdown was obviously a chance to kind of get those ideas into actually turn them into some demos and stuff. So it turned out to be a pretty productive time for us, which we haven't had many of those as a band really, but.
Never needed to be that productive though.
No, exactly. Yeah. All about fun for us.
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be fun, hasn't it? Like, if you didn't enjoy it, then what's the point?
Yeah, I've always maintained that I think like if we ever put pressure on ourselves to kind of get something out by a certain date and put timelines on things, we're taking the fun out of it for us. And I think obviously having
stressful, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think what we do and how we create music is so like, I don't know, organic. We never really kind of like overanalyze things too much. And I think obviously Josh playing in Malevolence stuff and him being away from the band and kind of for different periods of time obviously contributes to that. But I think I don't know, I wouldn't want it any other way, basically.
Yeah. I think as well, obviously, just the obvious fact that this isn't the full-time job for you guys. You've got your own bits on the side, which will obviously impact things like any other creative outlet. Like you were saying before, James, before we started, like you work within like the law, I guess, which is your own kind of justice that you're doing on the side. But...
Yeah, no, I'm not a cop though.
No.
Fuck that. Wouldn't be anywhere near that. But we work for solicitors. I work in marketing, and we all got quite like I don't know, we're a very eclectic mix of careers within the band, I think. But yeah, and I think ironically, we're probably the busiest we've ever been in our own personal lives and family lives and that sort of stuff, and also the busiest the band's ever been. And we're somehow making it work. And it doesn't feel like a lot. I feel like it's still kind of all building, kind of up to this tour that we've got in February, I guess. And yeah, we'll just and obviously the record coming out before that. We'll see what happens once that's out as well. So yeah, exciting times.
This follows up you had an EP come out in 2019 called Hell's Other People. How do you feel this record kind of picks up from where that EP left off, and also displays like an evolution that you've had between then and now?
I kind of feel like it follows some sort of a natural progression. But again, like when we wrote that, it was from a certain time in all our lives when we had certain stuff going on, and we wrote it and we released it, and then we wrote this thing. It's almost entirely separate, but it does sort of follow on from his last release because it's the next release, if that makes sense. It's difficult to say, really.
Yeah, I think we have a really good idea, like talking about just the music alone. Like I think we all have a really good idea of what like a Rough Justice song is and what it should sound like, essentially.
Yeah. I think there's been times I've sent you stuff and you've been like, that is really cool, but it doesn't quite sound like a Rough Justice song.
Yeah.
And I've got what you meant.
Yeah, because I think that's another interesting thing about us is that we never have kind of active conversations about trying to replicate a certain style, or this band's done this thing that's really cool, we should try and do that. And I think that I don't blowing my own trumpet a bit, but I struggle to think of comparisons to Rough Justice a lot of the time. Do you know what I mean? I think people probably will have comparisons that they can draw and think it sounds like other things, but I really like that. The fact that it's not got much that it sounds similar to. And I do think that's something that a lot of Sheffield bands have managed to do, in a variety of genres, but especially the heavy stuff. What else sounds like Malev?
Yeah.
I mean, like what else sounds like Sleeps and like the earlier Sleep stuff as well, especially. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. I just think, we all kind of do our own thing, but all back each other. And it's just quite nice.
Yeah.
Well, who was it you went with production on this album? Because I think you were at Treehouse Studios, weren't you? Was that just, were you recording there? Was it just that was where it was sent for mixing? How did it all come together?
Josh recorded all the drums at Treehouse, and then we did all the DI stems at Malevolence's unit with Josh. Josh recorded
in Sheffield. Yeah.
Josh recorded all those for us, and then we sent the stems off to be reamped and remastered and mixed and all that stuff.
So that was Jim Pinder at Treehouse, right?
Yes, big up Jim Pinder.
Yeah, nice one, Jim.
Treehouse.
What do you think he kind of injected into the record then?
Well, I think an amazing thing about how Jim worked was that he asked us for certain examples of sounds and styles that we liked. So we had some specific ideas of how we wanted the album to sound, which was, we wanted it to sound raw, but professional enough and polished enough, but not too much, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
We wanted it to sound professional, but we also wanted to have a certain grit to it, and he just kind of nailed that straight off the bat. So that was like a real cool way to work with someone on releasing music, I found.
Yeah, I thought that was my main worry, that it would sound too polished,
too metal.
Too metal.
Yeah.
But I think because all our other recordings have just been with friends and stuff, I mean, like Con from Malevolence did the EP pretty much, and we recorded drums with another guy for that as well, but he did everything else. So there wasn't kind of like the bar wasn't set super high for how it was going to sound, essentially. So anything done by Jim, and I'm sorry, not to say that he's not done an amazing job, we think he has, but like anything was going to be a big improvement. And I think he listened to us, like El said, which is one of the big things. And so we're dead happy with how it sounds, and I think it kind of does its best to capture the energy of how we are live as well. I think that's what we all love doing, is playing live. So I think that was a big thing for us as well.
Yeah, that's the balance you want, isn't it? You don't want to sound like it's been recorded like in a shed or anything like that, but you do want it to sound like professional, but not to the point where it's like so hard to replicate that level of sheen live. You want like the energy,
exactly,
with the kind of music that you make.
Yeah,
it's such a wild in between, and I think Jim really did such a good job at capturing what we initially set out to capture. So it's really
sure.
Well, talk to me about the album title, because the track of the same name, lyrically it seems to be talking about like questioning religion a bit, kind of like approaching that topic of religion and heaven and faith. Is that a prominent point of the record? Is there any kind of particular themes that are tackled throughout?
It's not there isn't a theme to the record, I wouldn't say, but we obviously liked that title, and that was always going to be the title of that song. But lots of different themes. Yeah, you're right in what you say. That one is about faith. That's Elliot's song, really. That's your one, isn't it? So I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, of course. So I think that I don't know. I don't remember when we named the album "Faith in Vain." Do you?
No, I think it was when you came to Ed with the idea for this
Yeah,
Faith in Vain, the song that ended up being Faith in Vain, the song. I think he coined that. Yeah, he created that title.
Felt that deep and shit, and then the chorus came, and it made sense to call the album it, I guess. But yeah, the song Faith in Vain is birthed from it's basically, it comes from my own personal experience with falling out of religion growing up. I was raised in a Christian family, and as I grew up, I realised that it wasn't something that I believed in, and I felt quite angry towards that and resented it. And I realised that I was quite angry at a God that I knew didn't exist. So when we were writing this album, I sort of realised that a little and came to Ed with that suggestion as, oh, maybe you should write about this, because, you know, we're always throwing interesting ideas at him and James, and they both sort of play with them and see what comes out. And yeah, I think he just ran with that one and found it quite profound. And yeah, it's been quite deep for me hearing it back and stuff. And he's really nailed it on the head in terms of how I felt, you know, without even asking me too much about it. You know, I've told him a bit, but you know, the way he's wrote it is quite it's quite a personal song to me, really. And
yeah, Ed's the guitarist in Rough Justice, and he's a very, very clever bloke. he's an academic. He's what?
No street smarts, though.
No street smarts, no common sense, but he's very academic.
Can you?
No, but yeah, he's doing his philosophy PhD at the minute. So, you know, I was saying we're all very varied in what we do, so that's what he's up to at the minute. But yeah, he's an absolute wizard with words and stuff, and obviously I write a lot for my job as well, so we often split lyric writing duties and stuff. So that was one that he absolutely nailed, like El said. Yeah, very, very happy with how that one came out.
Yeah, good one though.
It looks like it's kind of represented in, I don't know if this is intentional, but it looks like that's kind of represented in the cover artwork as well. So it's like this kind of astral being, which I guess could be considered a god or a deity or whatever it is.
Yeah,
in like a red whirlpool black hole kind of thing.
Yeah, you've nailed it, really. I think there's we wanted the artwork to be quite loose. We wanted to give the artist Adam Burke, who did the artwork, a little bit of an idea, but the red part that you're referring to is based on a lyric in Faith in Vain, treading water in the crimson stream. So we were really happy that he was able to sort of like involve that somehow, and like it's cool that the figure represents or could represent something almost religious, but doesn't quite scream religion at you at the same time.
Yeah, that was a big thing for the video as well. Like we kind of wanted to kind of get the kind of theme of like ascension and like things going up and like what is, you know, up above us, without kind of being too on the nose with, you know, like priests and crosses and churches and all that kind of stuff. So bit more subtle, but yeah, that we did give him the title of the album when sort of, you know, asking for the artwork, and he nailed it. Adam Burke, Nightjar Illustration on Instagram, very talented chap.
I don't know, like, if this is just me like looking too much into it, so you can tell me if I am, but so the Hell Is Other People EP, that cover artwork is in space, and it looks like obviously the Faith in Vain is also in space as well. Is that a correlation at all, or is that just coincidence?
Complete coincidence. Yeah. We were very specific with what we wanted for Hell Is Other People, weren't we? Because that was our friend Lewis that did that, very good friend of ours, and we kind of basically wanted to rip off some artwork by a band called Failure, and he did a good job at that. But yeah, pretty much a coincidence.
Okay.
But yeah, it's worked out all right, and like similar colours, I guess, both like red. You know?
You start tasting it. We just and shit, I guess.
Yeah, sci-fi nerds.
Yeah.
Yeah, not going to be quite Rings of Saturn yet, doing like songs about aliens, but maybe.
We'll see.
Well, you mentioned before, you know, bands from Sheffield, you know, seem to have kind of like especially in like the heavier scene, kind of like a unique stamp. And I've also noticed, well, there's kind of like a more so than most other places, kind of like a sense of DIY and independence and community, and kind of just doing stuff beyond the standard bands. So, like, you know, mentioned some of the bigger names, like obviously Ollie from Bring Me's got a restaurant and a clothing line, and then you've got while she sleeps, they've got their own like kind of little warehouse thing, and they kind of do pretty much everything in house. And then, obviously Malevolence is a part of your DNA. You've got Josh in the band, and then Conan, helped produce your EP, and you're on their label and stuff. In your opinion, and from kind of where you stand, being part of that community, what do you think it is about Sheffield that kind of brings that out in those kind of bands?
Yeah, I don't know. Difficult to say. I think there is a lot of space in terms of like physical space for things to be built in, like you say with Sleeps' studio and stuff. Malev have pretty much done the same thing, but in a different space, and it's pretty close. So it's almost like in a little line. There's the Sleeps warehouse, there's Church Temple of Fun and the Drop Dead warehouse, and then there's the Malev unit. So they're all very close together in like Neeps End, Kelham Island area of Sheffield. I don't know.
Cool old building, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool. Their friend Mazin has a gym in there as well, so it's a really cool spot. And it's tough to say. I think I've been thinking about it a lot recently. I think Sheffield, before we were into like hardcore and stuff, had a real big scene in like the 2000s. So it was really, from 2000 up to kind of like 2008 ish. There was a lot of hardcore shows and stuff in Sheffield. So I think that's kind of in the DNA of it a lot, and it's definitely still present in a lot of venues in the city. There's the Lug Hole, which is down in that area as well, which is a full, DIY venue. There's a couple of little ones that are kind of a bit more, I don't know, that like run in the punk DIY spirit, but put on a lot more sort of like experimental music and stuff. There's a venue called Hatch. There's one called Delicious Clam that does a lot of sort of like indie alternative stuff. And a lot of like electronic music as well, like little small venues that people just put gigs on. And I don't know what, I think it's just maybe a northern thing. We're just quite industrious folk, I guess, and just kind of like to, I don't know, take things by the scruff of the neck and kind of just make things happen, I guess. And we've been very lucky to kind of just be involved in this, collective, as you say, with Malevolence. It was very, I think we would have met them anyway, really. But the band that I mentioned right at the start that we were all in used to practice in the same practice space as them, so that's kind of how we know them. Just by coincidence, we were just in there at the same time a lot and got friends and started going to gigs together and stuff. But I can't really put my finger on what it is. I think we just are very industrious people. Like to get stuff done.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
I just thought it was always interesting, and I think, I don't know, did Outbreak start in Sheffield or was that Leeds? I can't remember.
I think did have its very OG or the very start.
You tell the story, that the pre-show, that's quite a good one.
The pre-show
for the first ever Outbreak.
Yeah, so the pre-show for the first ever Outbreak was in a practice room that I used to share in there with Malevolence and In Arms, the band we referred to earlier. Me and Harry used to play in them, and we had a practice room that was great in Sheffield. A lot of good times there, and it was big enough to have shows. So we had a few little shows in there and stuff, and we used to have mates around quite a lot. And the pre-show for the first Outbreak was in our practice room, which is quite funny. Yeah.
So that the first one was at the Broom Hall Centre, which is kind of just in Sheffield's city centre, kind of just outside essentially. But yeah, like I said, it's got a lot of like history and hardcore and stuff, and we kind of missed its big heyday in the 2000s, probably a bit too young, but so many good gigs that we went to, and so many great bands that we saw in like really small venues and stuff. So again, just very fortunate that there were people that were putting these bands on, that had these connections kind of across the country, and there was even some American bands that came over and played. We just got very lucky as well to be in Sheffield at a good time, really, and saw a lot of good bands. I
think it's good as well. Like, obviously Outbreak's gone huge now. It's in like a massive warehouse in Manchester. I think it's good that they've kept it up north. Like everything seems to be in London nowadays. It's just it's a breath of fresh air that it stays up here. Like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's just nice for it to have stayed there. Yeah, for sure. For now.
Who knows what the future holds for it?
Yeah. So of course, the start of 2024, you guys are going to be super busy with obviously the album dropping. You've got the listening party about a week beforehand on the 7th at Triple Point Brewery. Is that right, in Sheffield?
That's right, buddy. Yeah.
Yep. And then you're on tour in February with Malevolence and Pain of Truth.
Pop.
How are you feeling about all that? Because you've got this Christmas break, and then it seems like it's all systems go.
Yeah, I'm stoked for it, man. It's going to be sick. Pain of Truth are fucking sick. Going to be a real honour to share the stage with those guys every night. And obviously, you know, like you said earlier, Malevolence is part of our DNA. So that's obviously going to be great, because not only are they our best friends, but you know they're awesome. So it's going to be great to see how each show pans out every night for them. But you know, yeah, it's just going to be great. Like, we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be. I honestly don't know about you, El, but I've not had time to like kind of even process all the stuff that's happening just yet. Like,
to be honest, I try not to be honest.
Yeah.
And just sort of rock up on the day and be like, okay, let's do it. But
it's kind of what we've always done.
Yeah, that in the past has not been great for me.
Not to think about it too much, or just to rock up.
Being prepared for certain things, but
yeah,
but it was fine. It's calm. It's not a problem. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to it, you know. But yeah, it's going to be great. Like, it's going to be the most amount of time I've ever played like shows back to back in terms of like a tour and stuff. So that's going to be exciting and super fun, because you know, in the past, like, we've only ever played about four shows back to back, I think, and like after 4 shows, you're just sinking your teeth into it. So
yeah, in 10 years as a band, yeah, we've never properly had a big tour, so this is the first one, and I'm shitting myself.
Scared about his body, his gangly.
Yeah, I'm not a sort of inactive man, but I've just like we said, I've not done this many gigs in a row before, so I don't know how the old voice and back are going to fare, but we'll see. Yeah,
take it one day at a time and wing it. That's all you can do.
Yeah, I guess so, mate. That's probably going to have to be the solution.
Yeah. Just think of it as like a bit of a test drive, because then if you do obviously bigger tours in future, like, this is where I fucked up, this is where I did well. Let's kind of recalibrate and sort it out.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, gonna have to get some tips from Alex, I think, as well. Yeah,
it's all learning, isn't it? It'll be right.
Yeah. But very stoked. I think, yeah, like El said, Pain of Truth are just absolutely popping at the minute. Managed to see him at Outbreak, and it was just absolute chaos. So, very excited to see that every night for sure.
Yes,
we're playing some spots we've never been before. Playing Brighton, which I'm quite excited about. Apparently, it's very nice city and quite a popping hardcore scene at the minute. I heard a lot of good things about the shows down there, so very excited for that. That one in particular should be really good. But yeah, it's going to be great. I think Nottingham one is sold out as well, so obviously not too far from home. We've been going to gigs there as fans of music for years as well. So always a pleasure to be down there, and playing Leeds as well, which has been a second home for us for the whole time we've been a band pretty much. So playing a lot of familiar spots, but also some new ones. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, definitely, dude. Yeah, sounds exciting. What else have you got planned in 2024? Is that pretty much it so far that you can talk about?
That is it for now, pretty much.
We've got a couple of bits booked, haven't we? But I think we've tried to be mindful of not booking too much too soon in terms of before the album drops. We've had to say no to a couple of cool things, because we just wanted to sort of like take it as it comes, really, and focus on the campaign and just sort of like get the album out, get it out well, and then see what comes along, really, and go from there, and just be real chill with it and just take it in our stride and see what we get offered. And
we've no idea what the ceiling is, really, if that makes sense, so like when the record comes out, I don't know, like if we can play a few gigs in Europe, I'd be absolutely buzzing. That has always been a little goal.
If we got on a few shows with Michael Bolton, I'd be pretty chuffed.
Yeah, maybe some share support slots or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Michael Bolton, maybe like a.
We'll see.
Sounds feasible.
I'll be gutted if it didn't work, to be honest. But jokes aside, it's going to be fun. Like I said, I don't know. Yeah, just have to see what happens when the record comes out. We're just very excited, because I think the 2 singles, obviously, we're very, very happy with. But I think there's a lot of really good songs on there that we're very happy with. A lot of really heavy shit that we think people are going to like. So
there's been talk of Europe as well about giving too much away. So that's a cool one that hopefully is going to be in the pipeline. A few shows in Europe.
Yeah, I guess just I've heard the album. I think it's great. Just
thank you.
Just drop it. Gauge how people react to it, and I guess just take things as they come that you feel comfortable with, and that's all you can really do, isn't it?
Yeah. That's it, man.
Yeah, there's literally nothing we can do at this point, is there? We wrote it, we're really happy with it, we release it.
The brakes are off.
All gas, no brakes.
Exactly, brother.
Thanks again, guys, for coming on. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Before I let you go, you guys got any final words you want to say? And if you want to plug, the floor's yours.
I would like to say rock and roll always.
Yes. Be excellent to each other, in the words of my favourite film franchise. Go to gigs. Don't give a fuck what the older kids think of you. Just do your thing. They'll be the ones to look back and think they were the idiot, not you. So just keep doing you. Go to as many gigs as you can. Try and start a band. Just get involved with the music that you love. You won't regret it.
That's it. That's the way.
Wise words to close on, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, pal.
Yeah, no worries. Zach. Good luck with the album, and have a great Christmas and New Year's as well.
Yeah, you too, mate.
Good as well, my brother.
See you later, dudes.
Cheers. Bye. Take care, man.
Bye.
Bye.
And that is it. Thank you so much for listening. Again, if you enjoyed this or any other episode of the podcast, then please leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this. If you want to support the podcast further, you can go and give it a follow on social media, pick up something from the merch store, or subscribe to the Patreon to get early access to episodes. All the links can be found at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. Thanks again. Hopefully catch you on the next one. And remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.